Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
What's up, guys? I'm Ace.
It's RB3.
And welcome to our review, our spoilers review for Avengers Endgame. If you're watching this video, you probably already saw Endgame and you're clicking on another spoilers review, because let's face it, you probably watched a ton of these already. This is the culmination of the MCU. All 22 films have finally wrapped up, and this is the finale of the finale of the finales. As we've said before on our podcast, you already saw this movie, RB3, a full 2 days before I saw it, if not 3 days. No, 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
You saw it at the Disney lot.
Yeah.
You saw it next to Mickey Mouse, sitting next to Chris Evans.
Not Mickey Mouse, not Chris Evans, but McCarthy, thank you so much for inviting me as your plus one.
I'm still a little salty, you know what I'm saying? I'm dropping that salt.
And we did
on that.
I did a non-spoiler review also on the channel as well.
That's right. You can go check that out if you haven't seen the movie. But finally, I've seen it. I've seen it twice now, so that means I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of opinions.
Yeah, I saw it twice too. I saw it Thursday.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, I mean, let's start out, man. I mean, we kind of know what your thoughts are. You kind of know what my thoughts are, but let's just hear your general opinions on Avengers Endgame. Let me know.
Oh man, it was the right movie, man. It was the movie they needed to make. Really washed the bad taste of Infinity War out my mouth. Ooh. And really got up there and just made it.
Hey, really, man? You starting out with that?
What? Starting off with what?
The bad taste of Infinity War?
Or it's just like I was starting to get worried that Marvel was less concerned with making movies and more concerned with like selling toys. You know what I mean? Ooh. So, but this was at least a celebration of the cinema of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I appreciate it on that level.
Yeah, I really did like this movie. I mean, second viewing is always kind of what you're gonna get your opinions on, but I can't lie. First viewing, I really did enjoy it. However, I'm gonna come right back at you, left, right. We're already jabbing right now, man. We're going into boxing match. I like Infinity War better than this movie.
Right,
I'm saying it right off the bat.
For real saying that?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Infinity War is a better movie.
Wait, how? Like
100%.
How? You gotta explain that to me. You gotta explain
100. I feel like Infinity War, there's a point in this movie where it picks up right after that super dark tone of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And it goes into like hot tub time machine, because let's face it, that's what it is. And I was like, okay, the tone, I was like, yo, the tone's flipped, bro. When they're like putting Scott Lang and making him a baby and stuff, I was like, yo, this is like, it's cool and it's cute, but I'm like,
wait.
I like this movie. I really love this movie.
But you saying Infinity War is not of the same fucking goofball shit? Like,
not as much as Scott turning into an old man and a baby?
They're calling the main villain Squidward at one point.
That's funny.
They turned the gun into bubbles.
That's funny too.
Come on, like, what are we talking about here?
I personally feel like the setup and the battles and the tension in Infinity War were slightly better. However, I will say, the conclusion to this movie is better than Infinity War. I will say that the culmination of this movie, because it is basically, that's the word I'm going to say the most, so who cares? That's the word that best signifies this movie, because that's what it is. It's a season finale, a series finale, a movie finale, whatever you want to call it. The word finale basically means I've been watching everything since day one. I want to be paid off. I want to be satisfied on the final day. That's what this movie is, and that's what it gives me on the third act, because this third act is like insane. It's absolutely insane. But let's start with what this movie does right away. And what it does right away is, obviously, it starts out with Hawkeye losing his family in the beginning of the movie, which I love.
Perfect beginning.
Very left behind, very leftovers, very whatever you want to quote, rapture type stuff. Like, that was dark, good stuff. And then it picks up right with Nebula and Tony.
Yeah.
Which I love. I got a lot to say about Nebula. I won't say it now, but let's just say I love Nebula, man. I freaking love Nebula. But either way, Captain Marvel is introduced, brings the ship down. But what I love about this movie the most is that before the credits even start, we see Captain America's famous line where he says, "Let's get the son of a bitch," and then the Avengers tagline opens.
Yeah.
And then in the first 5 minutes of this movie, they just kill Thanos.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. That's the coolest thing I've seen.
That's really what it should have been. Honestly, like, I think that's why I like this movie a lot more in Infinity War. At least we didn't have to deal with that purple garbage for too much like of the film, you know? They kind of just sliced his head off, and then he comes back later, but then, like, it's it's kind of like he's more
of a foe.
Yeah,
an object than a character.
Yeah. So I'm glad that like off rip, it wasn't like a whole nother like fake sympathy.
Thanos 3 hours. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So now that they finally had the opportunity to focus on the Avengers and stuff like that, it really got out the way. I also gotta say too, with that Captain Marvel sequence when she's coming up on, you know, Iron Man in the ship, like when you first see that, when I first saw the movie, at least, like the whole way they set it up with Tony, you know, with the music and everything. Of course, you know he's not actually gonna die in that moment, but it was the setup was triumphant, and when you first have that slight like yellow glow in his face, like the first time you see that, like that takes forever, you know what I mean? You feel like you're just waiting forever and ever and ever. I feel like that's really good, like on a cinematic level, you know what I mean? That's just really good, like just like that's echoing like that, like angel ascending, you know, like when somebody having like their last moments or whatever. I thought that was really like a really nice way of like subverting that too. So,
very angelic, seeing the light, heaven.
And then the light fades, and then it's Brie Larson's,
which is dope for me. She
carries the ship down. Also, it was nice seeing that they didn't actually CGI somebody in that trailer shot. It was the way the shot composition. It was just Gwyneth Paltrow the entire time. So honestly, the start of the movie was great. I know my boy, Camilo. We've had a Sam Raimi episode. He didn't like this movie. Really? He's on your team. He's on Team Infinity War.
I love Infinity War, but it doesn't mean I don't like this movie.
But like, I
love this movie.
But he said for him, like when the Thanos head chop scene, it was like, yo, what the fuck just happened?
To me, I was like, this is perfect. Because that makes so much sense to me. Yeah. Like, imagine, like, now that we have a plan, now that we know what's going on, hey, you grab his arm, you jump him, we grab his neck, cut off his head, cut off his arm, boom, done. Like, every mistake that they made in Infinity War, they can just correct. That, to me, that made perfect sense. I was like, they would kill Thanos in 2 seconds if they had a like concrete plan. They almost did it in Infinity War if it wasn't for friggin' Star-Lord. Messed it all up. But think about it, like, even in that scene, and they didn't even have like the A team. They had like the B- team, and they still kicked his ass. So like that really made, like, as soon as Thor chopped off his head, I was like, that's dope. That's the coolest thing I've seen.
That shit was nice when they ambushed Thanos, and then like everybody, so cool. Like Captain Marvel came in. I forgot who else like jumped in. But you see like War Machine, but then you just see like Captain America and Black Widow like marching, like the generals.
Like he's the boss.
Yeah. That was fire.
Even Captain Marvel was like, answer his question. I was like, it's like, yo, this guy's like the leader and shit. That was dope, man. But what might be even a bigger shock for me, honestly, than Thanos getting his head chopped off, because I was like, oh, that's cool. 5 years later, I immediately was like, what are they doing?
Well, see, a lot of people had theorized about the time jump. I kind of thought about
that. Not me.
Too. So you remember how I had told you in my original theory going into the movie, I had thought they were gonna make that same trip to Thanos, but except they were all gonna lose and die. Like I thought everybody was gonna die, and then it would be like 5 years later, is like the remaining few figured out like how to like time travel or whatever, you know.
But what happened instead was 5 years later, we have Captain America leading this therapy group to move on, and then in the back, which I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I thought that was fire because they set that up in the Super Bowl trailer. So that also reminds me, you didn't watch a lot of the trailers for this movie.
I saw the Super Bowl one.
So you saw the Super Bowl one. So the thing is with the trailers, like there were a lot of shots in the trailer that had Black Widow with the yellow hair, and there was a lot of shots that had her with the red hair. So then it was like a lot of people were trying to like figure out like what did that mean? Did that mean like there's a time jump or whatever? But yeah, with starting off that way with Captain America, it kind of gives you the sense of where the world is like at that moment, you know? And I think that's crucial to getting why everybody is so still trying to push for this agenda, trying to push for the mission to keep moving forward. You know?
But the catalyst essentially was Scott Lang coming back due to
the rat,
the clutchest rat in cinema.
I love it. I think that's brilliant.
Hey man, sometimes a rat just needs to
that's very comic booky. That's very comic booky too, by the way.
But essentially he comes back and talks about the quantum realm, which I knew, and we all kind of knew that it was going to play a hand after Ant-Man and the Wasp, because everyone played
up how they shoved it down our throats for like
I rewatched Ant-Man and the Wasp specifically because of this. And I was like, yeah, they're making it a hard. They're like quantum. But essentially, they need the help of Tony Stark. And Tony Stark, what I thought was really cool, has a family. He's married to Pepper Potts. He has a little girl. That was cool. He's like retired off on some like little cabin. I thought that was one of the coolest aspects of this movie. Yeah. And the fact that he figured out time travel in like 10 seconds flat, I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, I did wish. I was like, come on, man. Like literally the exact next scene. Like
I thought that was sick as hell. I really thought that this movie was going to spend 45 minutes on like, how do we time travel? I'm so glad they did it in like 5 minutes. I'm so happy. But what follows that is essentially another hit or miss for some people, and that is Bruce Banner's Hulk as Bruce Banner Hulk, Professor Hulk. What do you think of that?
I love it. I think that's great. I think that's exactly
Mark Ruffalo being Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Yeah. See, I thought because they released that concept art of him.
It was like a big rumor. People kind of knew it was going to come. Yeah. That's why I wasn't shocked as many other of my movie going audience was too.
I thought I didn't see it coming, but I also thought it was like very cool and very funny. I thought it would have been more of a thing like he wore a suit that like compressed him so tightly like all the time that he was just forced to stay in the Hulk position. You know what I mean? Like a pressure suit. I thought that's what they're gonna do, but it was like now we spent 18 months in the Gamma thing together. I thought the scene with him and then Ant-Man like trying to take the picture was just hysterical. Yeah. And I don't know. I love seeing the funny Hulk, like the full CG. I don't know if I want to see that for
a movie.
Sure. Like, I do think that's a little much. Yeah. A little.
You know what's funny? In a world filled with time travel and intergalactic beings destroying galaxies, the most unbelievable part of this movie is Bruce Banner being like, "Hey kids, dab," and I was like, "Dab? 5 years in the future, kids won't even know what dab is. Kids already forgot what it is now.
People don't. Yeah,
but in the year 2024, that dab is not going to exist.
Well, it's 2022 because it's
2022. You're right.
After Infinity War,
but essentially, like, I was like, that's not good. But I just thought that was like a funny bit. But essentially, once we get into the second act of this movie, that's where things start kicking, where we go to the 3 separate timelines with I think 4 different groups, and essentially it's New York 2012 trying to get the Infinity Stones. 5 groups. And then Morag with Nebula and War Machine, and then Vormir with Hawkeye and Black Widow. Obviously the standout and Thor: The Dark World too on Asgard, but the standout by far, dude, going back to the first Avengers. Yeah. What'd you think of that, man? Right away. Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah. The first Avengers is my favorite MCU movie. And I've always felt like none of the other particularly Avengers movies have ever lived up to that one. Really because like, I feel like a lot of them have tried to be this whole serious thing when Avengers is inherently not a serious thing, you know what I mean? I feel like this was kind of the first movie to like finally like tap into that and realize like, oh, like let's have like actual fun with the material, let's be creative.
But what's great about it is seeing the different, like what happens right afterwards and who's behind the scenes, and Hawkeye grabbing a beer and like little things like that made this probably one of the best parts of the movie, and has my favorite scene in the entire movie. And I know I was gonna wait towards the end to say what our favorite scene was, but I have to say it now. My favorite scene in the whole movie, man, is that elevator scene callback.
I was gonna say
I was dying. Yeah, I literally, as soon as we saw what is his name, Crossbones. Frank Grillo is Crossbones, and then Sitwell come back. Agent Sitwell. Obviously, we all know is Hydra. Yeah. All these guys coming back, and as soon as we saw them come in and get the scepter, and you're like, okay, that's cool. But as soon as Cap goes into the elevator with them,
I thought that was perfect.
I was like, are they really gonna do this again? They're gonna do the whole fight again, and it's gonna be amazing. And it was even better, RB3, because right when you think there's gonna be this huge fight of their like Winter Soldier like callback, it's a freaking, he like leans in and he's like, yo man, I got this. Hail Hydra. Like, all right, I got you, man. And he walks out. I almost feel like he dabbed him at that point. Even with the community, like straight up, like Donald Glover. Like, oh, you Hydra, bro? Bro. All right, give me that case.
That's crazy.
That was, I literally clapped. Like my whole theater like blew up and shit.
Everybody loved that.
That was the coolest thing.
That was for me the moment when I really like loved that movie.
Because it's even better than like, if they did the fight scene again, that would have been amazing. Yeah. But the fact that they subverted expectations scenes, and we're like, we're not gonna do the fight scene again. We're gonna do something even better. Hail Hydra, bro. Like he doesn't even need to fight. All he has to say is Hail Hydra, and it's over. Yeah. That to me was like the coolest scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, they did a lot of subverting of expectations like throughout the whole thing. You know, with the whole Hulk taking the stairs or whatever.
That was so many stairs. And it's just a spiral going all the way down. That was incredible.
And then they fuck up and lose.
And the fact that Loki got it back, and
so I guess that means Loki's alive again. That's what basically happens.
I guess that's the Loki we're gonna get from the TV show. Disney Plus.
But see, that's what's interesting about this whole time travel thing. I mean, it's very similar to Back to the Future Part 2. I mean, they even say it in the movie.
That's true.
They make very clear what they
avoid yourself.
Are.
Don't talk to your former self.
But I mean, just from a plot level, like seeing the first Back to the Future from like a different angle and all that kind of stuff.
That's so true. And what's great too is we I feel like what gives us the best Endgame, the best thing that it gives us is the best of Captain America, in my opinion. This is the best Cap there's ever been. And that's saying a lot because Winter Soldier gave us a lot. Civil War gave us a lot. But this movie, man, this is Cap's movie, in my opinion. This is Cap's best movie by far. I mean, obviously the scene where he fights himself is great because I love the callback that everyone always says. It's like, I know, not just that, but like, I can do this all day. And he's like, I know. Jeez, man, I know. Like the fact that he's like cussing and that Cap doesn't cuss. Like little things like that made it feel like this is a more veteran Cap and this other Cap knows his weaknesses. Like even when he says like, hey man, Bucky's alive. He's like, what you say? What name did you say? Like straight up like Martha and Batman vs Superman. Like little things like that made Cap like one of the best parts, if not the best part of this whole movie. But that 2012 Avengers timeline was great, and we saw the return of Tilda Swinton as the Sorcerer Supreme. That was cool.
I don't think that was cool. That was the one part of that was one part of the movie I was like kind of disappointed by.
Jesus, RB3.
No, because I think they really could have had a great opportunity. They spent a lot of time with doing the Winter Soldier callbacks, a lot of times with the Avengers callbacks. I thought that would have been a great moment if she just would have pushed Bruce and we just would have had a 2-minute just trippy sequence.
You wanted to see the shooting star?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to see. That's exactly, bro. Literally, like I think that would have put the icing on the cake, bro. I think that really just would have highlighted because like it was cool seeing Bruce like outside of the thing or whatever, but like we've seen that for the whole last movie, you know what I mean? Like I just thought they could have. That to me, it was like the one wasted opportunity.
Really,
I felt like
interesting. I love it. I just love seeing her character again, and I love her being like this all-knowing being who's like.
No, seeing the character was cool. I also think that like that was the one scene that had like the remarkably least amount of conflict in it because it was ultimately the conversation was like, oh, like Doctor Strange trusted you, so here's the stone. I guess I'll give it to you. It's like there was really nothing insightful that kind of happened throughout that. So. As my one flaw of this movie, you're going to your one flaw. We got to talk about the elephant in the room, the elefante in the room, and that's my boy Thor, bro. I gotta say it. They did my boy dirty. They did him dirty, bro. They did my boy Thor dirty. They smeared him to the ground. They made him bum Thor, and I gotta say, man, he was funny for 5 minutes, and then I was like, yo, is he really gonna be like this the whole movie? Bro, yeah.
Are we really gonna have Lebowski, a bum Thor, the whole movie?
Bro, you gotta understand what he's going through,
even when he fights at the end of the movie, he's still like rocking that big old belly, slamming it against Thanos, and I'm like, bro, is this really bum Thor?
Like not a bum,
bro. Bum Thor, bro. Bum Thor.
What do you want from him, man?
And it's like, man,
lost everything.
If Thor was like, even my brother and I were talking about it, like, bro, if Thor if he ate like slightly better, and if he was in slightly more shape, he would have beat Thanos like in 5 minutes, bro.
Bruh, he couldn't do it the first time.
Yeah, he did. He did it in 2 seconds the first time.
Oh, okay.
All he had to do was go for the head.
Too late. Yeah, it's too late.
But the fact that they like,
that's why he's fat. That's why I loved.
They did him dirty, bro.
This is the first time
I gotta fight for it. Like rewatching Infinity War, Thor's like the biggest badass on the universe in that movie. Like he can kill anyone, and even he says that I can kill anyone, and he does kill everyone. Bro, and then in this movie, even like fucking War Machine says it. He's like, bro, your veins are made of Chi Whiz, and I was like, bro, that's so true. Cheese.
But like, what do you want from his character though? He lost everything, bro. He lost his mother, his father, his brother, his sister. his hammer.
Like he's crying the
half
whole
of his
the whole movie. He's crying.
Planet,
he's crying the
half
whole
of his
movie,
kingdom.
bro.
Yes.
Even
he
on Asgard,
crying, man.
he cries again.
You don't want to see him change? See, that's why
I want
Thor.
Thor.
Like Infinity War, man, because nobody changes in that movie. Like nobody. We see Thor lose everything, and he's the exact same.
I want Thor to be the
badass
badass we saw on Ragnarok and the badass we saw in Infinity War.
Yeah, but in Ragnarok he changed, right? Ragnarok he changed from being the selfish douchebag to being a team player, you know? Infinity War, he didn't change, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And here we saw the biggest change, bro. That's why I love the big change.
I thought it was funny, don't get me wrong, and it was probably the funniest bit in the whole movie. Everyone loved, even just like the scenes where they cut to him, when they're practicing the time travel thing, and he has sunglasses and headphones on.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's
he's got headphones on, bro.
Perfect.
Like straight up like Beats by Dre, like not even like earbuds or AirBuds. He's straight up rocking, like he's straight up ghetto in this movie, bro.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Eating King's Hawaiian and shit.
King's Hawaiian. Hey man, King's Hawaiin didn't like the product placement.
That's what Thor's Bodies by Thor. King's Hawaiian.
But hey man,
but what's great was New Asgard. I, as a fan of the comics and as a fan of like Thor and Thor comics, New Asgard is cool. That's actually canon in the comics.
Oh, really?
And seeing like their version of New Asgard, seeing Valkyrie again, who I love Tessa Thompson.
I thought that was interesting that it was like a Taika Waititi vibe once you hit. Like it was a very New Zealand like
that was cool, right?
Vibe.
Like a little coastal.
Yeah.
And then when we go inside his house and he's hanging out with Korg and Meek, my two homies from Ragnarok, bro. And the fact that Meek is just like eating pizza and he's got a little belly too, but he's like a little bug. So. And the fact that he's playing Fortnite.
Yeah, playing Fortnite.
And he's trolling.
Like 5 years later though.
I know.
I know about that.
And he's, but I still love that Thor is just like trolling the crap out of the troll. Like talking so much smack.
Yeah, he could do
He could do it, man. Yeah. That to me gives me a little bit of hope, because to be honest, like if you ever play video games online, you know that having that Thor just talk smack would be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be so funny.
Hey man, listen, I really love what they did for the character
for Bum Thor.
Yeah, I love Bum Thor. Because I think he actually had an arc. He came back at the end. He found his.
He did.
He found his luster. You know what I mean?
He did, and he had like one good moment in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
and when he saw his mom too.
When he saw his mom was great. I actually really liked that, and I talked to you beforehand about my second time viewing this movie and how my second time viewing this movie was with audience members that don't really follow the MCU. You have no idea how many people were like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, Thor's a Dark World.
Thor the Dark World. What?
Yeah.
Thor has a mom? Like,
yeah.
But I personally, as someone who likes the Thor movies and as someone who is, I've said it so many times, Thor is my favorite Avenger, which is why I'm defending him right now. I love Renee Russo as his mom. I love that character, and I love those interactions. I thought it was great how she called it right away. I thought it was great how he was like just telling her what happened. Yeah. Like that to me was a great part of the movie.
Yeah, I think this movie really would have benefited from having, I guess. This movie would have benefited from Thor 2 being a great movie. You
That's
know
true.
What I mean? Like,
that's very true.
And if Thor 2 was a great movie, like people would have ate that whole sequence up.
But following that up, speaking of Thor with his mom, you know what I loved even more, which I thought was incredible? Freaking Tony Stark and Howard Stark.
Oh,
that 3-minute scene. Yeah. It was just 3 minutes or like 4 minutes. I thought that was so good, man.
Yeah, that was nice.
Because it was like a small moment, especially after Civil War, when we see freaking Bucky just like tear his parents in half. Which to me, again, I told you a couple days ago, I would still kill Bucky. I'd be like, I know Wakanda, they saved you, bro, but I still gotta kill you, man. You still kill my parents, man. But the fact that he got to talk to his dad again, even just for a couple minutes, I thought that was a great little scene. And it was just like that 1970s bit was just like so short, like 8 minutes maybe, but it was still like one of my favorite parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, I think that was really great. I do find it interesting that they just kind of jumped into that scene without explaining it. I don't know if that's like one of the cut moments that like, the movie was originally way longer.
I feel like the whole movie to me, especially again the second time watching it, this movie is made for people who just have seen every single one.
Well, see, here's the thing.
If you've missed one or if you forgot about one, you're gonna feel left out.
Here's the thing, though. I've seen also every episode of Agent Carter, right?
Oh, you like Agent Carter? I forgot.
Yeah, I think
I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's the one of few shows that, and this is the first time that a Marvel movie has shared
references.
With Agent Carter, because the guy who's Jarvis is the same actor.
That's right.
Agent Carter.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, but it's also weird because like they say like when Cap and Iron Man have that whole like exchange, like, are you sure you want to go back to this time? How do they know of that exact date, like in particular? Is it just because of Hank Pym? Is it just because of Howard Stark being there the same day that Peggy? I mean, I think that's something. That might be something they're setting up for in the future. Could be. I don't know.
I mean, I rewatching the movie, I feel like even Tony, and there's a quick little line where he says, "Are you sure about the exact time and date?" Remember when Cap says that? Yeah. And he's like, "I'm pretty sure, but I'm gonna go to the Garden State." And he's like, "Okay," and he puts in 1970, and he's like 1970.
Yeah.
So he kind of like finesses it, I think, but it's Tony Stark. He's a genius, so he can probably remember facts that no one can remember. So that's kind of how I treated it.
It was great seeing the young Michael Douglas though again.
That was great too. And nice. The pin particles. Nice. Even seeing Peggy again, which is kind of foreshadowing what we get at the end of the movie.
But so as soon as they showed that scene, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. He's gonna go back to the 70s and like
but what I thought was interesting part of the movie, talking about time travel, is how they incorporated Thanos again. What do you think of that? The whole like Nebula is online. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm Nebula and I'm online. Like that's literally what I thought too, of like the whole like you go like online on Facebook and someone is you see the green dot of someone else who has your same name and you're like, wait a minute. Time travel. Because that's essentially what it was, right? It's like I like how Ebony Maw said it. Shout out to Ebony Maw, who's in this movie. Who's the telekinetic Thor child?
Yeah, Squidward.
When he's like, another Nebula is online. He said online.
Very 2014.
Very 2014. But the fact that that's kind of how Thanos knew that he's like, oh, they're time traveling. And then they caught another Nebula kind of whole situation, and that's how the bad guys were trying to come into the future. But I like that, but I also I feel so bad for Nebula, man. How much
she's been super abused.
Oh my god, bro! Like the fact that like she's like, I didn't do anything, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna torture you in my room, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like Nebula can't catch a break.
She was an abused child, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad seeing her arc throughout the series. Is she really?
Karen Gillan kills it, man. I really do feel like even the little funny moments at the very beginning of the movie where she's like, I'm having fun, like that little scene where she says that line is like, you can tell she's like growing as a character, where she's this crazy abused warrior child who's like learning to love a human, even share a connection with human. Just that little bit she has with Tony Stark is great. But the fact that she's the catalyst between bringing Thanos into the future, and that whole aspect of 2014 Thanos, bloodthirsty, literally covered in blood when we first see him, coming into the third act of this movie, which again, we can fast forward, but Hulk brings everyone back. Everyone comes back, except but so does Thanos. Except for Black Widow. We skipped on Vormir. What'd you think of that? I dug it. I dug it,
but like as soon as those two were going to that mission, I knew what was going to happen. You know what I mean?
Honestly, to me, it was a 50. I kind of liked the whole battle for suicide.
Yeah. No, I did too. I like that moment.
I'm gonna kill myself. No, I'm gonna kill myself. No, I'm gonna kill myself.
And that's something that's so relatable between those characters because every movie we've seen them fight. We've seen them fight in the first Avengers. Age of Ultron, they had their little
Civil
War, and now here, and I feel like that's appropriate.
It's a great full circle moment, and even the introduction of I'm one of the few. Apparently, people didn't like it. I loved the reintroduction of Hawkeye as a crazy bloodthirsty murderer, murdering Yakuza, decapitating cartels. I was like, hell let's go. Like that one long take of him just killing everyone. That was sick. That was so freaking cool. And he's speaking Japanese too. And the way the subtitles came out. Top notch. I love that. But the fact that Black Widow was the one to die, to me, was spot on.
One prediction I got right. I love how Marvel just like casually kills off the more problematic actors.
Problematic actors. She's great.
You don't think Scarlett Johansson's problematic?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess you haven't been on the internet recently, bro.
I mean, I'm not necessarily on everyone's team, bro.
Nah, man.
I'm team Buff Thor. Let's go Buff Thor.
Hey, listen. Well, I think Scarlett Johansson is problematic.
I'm team Iron Man was right.
I love Black Widow. But I think Scarlett Johansson's problematic. Anyway, she's getting her own movie. So I also,
is she though? I'm low key. You know what I low key feel, and I might be stretching. I might be reaching. I low key feel like that Black Widow movie's gonna be a prequel.
I mean, they already said it was a prequel.
No, but I'm saying like she's not even going to be in it.
Oh.
Like it's going to be a prequel as in like young Black Widow, and the girl who's playing her, who's in Fighting With My Family, I think she's playing young Black Widow. That's just my
Fighting With My Family.
The girl who plays freaking I forget her name, Paige, WWE.
Oh yeah.
She's been cast in the Black Widow movie. Remember, she was cast in the Black Widow movie, and everyone was like, "Oh, she's gonna fight against Black Widow," and I was like, I think she's playing a younger Black Widow. This is me just speculating.
I could totally see Marvel also like
bringing back Scarlet. I don't think they're. I think Scarlet
$200 million off of like fucking de-aging CGI for an entire
maybe
movie, just for the marketing.
But either way, I mean, I like that she's one to sacrifice herself because I feel like that was her character coming full circle.
Yeah.
And I like that Hawkeye was able to come from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, getting his family back.
Yeah.
But essentially, what we're leading up to is the crazy epic battle that we get into the third act of this movie, which is absolutely insane. And it starts off with Thanos sending down those missiles, and it starts out with the three first Avengers, the legendary three.
Well, they had already undone the snap at that point too.
They already undone it, but they hadn't really known if they like official confirmation. Like Hawkeye knew, but that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was those three going up against Thanos, and there's one little, like rewatching the movie, and I saw it the first time, but I was still like blinded by the bump thorness. But dude, when they were like, you know what, it's probably a trap, and he's like, you know what, I don't care, let's do it. It's like, okay, man, as long as we're on the same page, and you hear a clap, and the lightning just gets super dark, and he gets both hammers.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, even at that moment, I was still like, is it gonna turn buff? No. It's still Bump Thor, but he's got two hammers.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool.
But it was still so cool, man.
That's cool.
Like Thor with two hammers and like the lightning in his eyes. Like, oh man, that's super cool. And the fact.
And then when he transformed, his beard got tied up. I thought that was good.
That's so true. Yeah. But the funniest part to me is that he still got his belly, man. He's still swinging around, bouncing around.
I hope they fucking commit, man. Marvel doesn't commit to a thing, man. What happened to him being one-eyed?
Yeah,
what happened to him having a haircut? Now he's like back to his long hair.
I mean, what everyone talks about
two eyes
during this scene is what you think of Cap getting Mjolnir.
That was amazing. That was perfect. That was because when the hammer first went flying, I was like, oh, Vision's back. That's first person from the post snap. That's like coming back.
To be honest, I didn't think of anything because we've seen Mjolnir kind of have a mind of its own. I thought it was just kind of flying on its own.
I thought somebody threw it, but I thought it was Vision. So I was like, okay, Vision's the first one post snap. Because again, like when you see it for the first time, like everything's in slow motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like but then when it snapped back and hit Cap's hands, like bro, like that was it, dog. Like
that's cool.
I think that was the moment. That was the moment in the elevator was when I loved the movie, and then this moment was like, all right, this is like what I've been waiting for. You know what I mean? Like,
and then when he does the upswing, you know what I'm saying? The upswing, like
again, very comic booky.
To Thanos' head. That was cool. That was just sick.
Very comic booky, but very cool.
Obviously, I talked to you beforehand about the scene where Thanos brings down his entire army, and we see Cap, stand up and pull up his shield. And there's one shot in this movie that I'm one of those people who I really want to see this framed somewhere, of just a tiny little Captain America versus standing against like millions and millions of Thanos' army. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? One little scene where it's just Captain America by himself versus Thanos' army. Yeah. That's so cool. That was Jon Snow, Battle of the Bastards, bro. Like 1 on 1,000, 1 on 1,000,000. Like bring it on, I don't care. That was so cool.
That's crazy, man. Before we move on from the Thor thing though, from the Thor hammer thing, or Cap hammer thing, did you hear about the whole theory of the reason why he wasn't worthy enough to pick it up?
Yeah.
In the first
because he was lying about Bucky.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
He was
but didn't even know about Bucky in Age of Ultron?
No, but it doesn't. He would know about it. Yeah, because Winter Soldier came before Age of Ultron. So.
Oh, that's right.
And that information got revealed in Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. Point. So he would know, and he would be concealing that information. So now it's off his chest. He's worthy of wielding the hammer. Yeah. So I appreciate
But what calls it back, and it's one of the best lines in the movie, because it's another great callback to a great Captain America movie, and that's Winter Soldier. It's the on your left, bro.
Yeah, and the Falcon comes out. Yeah,
I was like, yo, and then Black Panther comes out.
Yeah. And
he's the first one to come out.
Yeah, Black Panther coming out was like, immediately you just felt it. It was like, Wakanda forever, baby. We back.
M'Baku in the back.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to M'Baku, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Doctor Strange comes in and opens a ton of portals to like different.
Yeah, Spider-Man swings in after the Guardians.
You got Valkyrie on Pegasus.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was fire too.
Sick.
That was perfect.
That was so cool.
Yeah, man. That was maybe one of my favorite. Anytime the fight cut to the Pegasus, like, that was always my favorite moment.
Obviously, Avengers assemble, and then they go old school, like freaking like CGI, like army on army battle. Man, it was great. I loved it, man, and I love seeing like every character kind of have their moment.
Even just Bucky still shooting the machine gun.
Oh my God!
They can't give this dude nothing else better.
Bucky's just there repping all them gun lovers out there, bro. He's like, guns! I love you guys! Bullets against aliens. And it's like, bro, this guy is not letting that gun go, man.
He's toast in real life. He's toast in real life.
But it's a great epic battle that we see in the finale of this movie. But what kills me too is, let's talk about the moment. Let's talk about my favorite scene in the whole movie, which is essentially Thanos trying to get his Infinity Stones again. He eventually tries to grab the glove. We have Captain Marvel coming back, swinging down.
Captain Marvel was really useless in this movie.
I don't think she was useless. I just felt like she was there to do her little moments, and that was kind of it. What did you think of female Avengers Assemble?
It was fun, but then at the same time, like when it was like the first 4 women, I was like, yeah, this is great. When 7 of them came out, I was like, yeah, this is fire. And then like when 11 of them came out, I was like, all right, that's a little on the nose, Marvel. Like, it's just a little on the nose, man. Like I don't even see every single.
You got something against?
Nah, man. I want to see everybody. I just didn't want to see like literally every single female character that's ever been in the Marvel
You know what
movie.
my favorite is? And she's one of my favorite characters in the MCU, so I'm allowed to give her shade. Is Mantis. Just being like,
what is she gonna do?
Put people to sleep, y'all. I'm about to put your ass to sleep.
What is she gonna do? Now,
straight up pull a Cardi B. Put his ass to sleep.
Don't say, stop that. Stop, I'm not gonna tolerate that.
But either way, I thought that was a fun moment. I liked it. But essentially, I love the conclusion of this movie, with it coming poetically full circle of
Iron Man
and the snap. Because to me, what's cool about that snap, that he's able to be the one to do it, and the fact that he's able to say that line is just the biggest, like, not just like the biggest poetic full circle, but to me, it's like the fact that he turns at, like, it's almost like rewatching it, it's almost kind of sad in the POV of Thanos, because we get his POV and we see like all his army disappearing and his like family disappearing, and I'm like, yo, it's low key sad for Thanos.
His family?
No, but I'm saying like children of Thanos. You know, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But essentially, like, it's got the sad music in the back and they're all disappearing, and I'm like, yo, it's low key dark for him, and I don't care, bro.
Yeah.
Like, yo, just like straight up like flipping him off and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it really is like Iron Man is straight up kind of low-key flipping him off, just being like, oh, you snap my people away, I'm gonna snap you away, and you're gonna be the last one standing, bro. You're gonna see everyone die.
Even though he didn't do it yet, but
who did?
That Thanos didn't do it.
That's true. But it's still like a big, like, I loved it. I love the pettiness of it, bro.
Yeah.
The pettiness of being like, bro, I'm gonna snap all your people out too. Like, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that was good stuff, man. That was good stuff. I really hope that they, of course, now that they've done all of this, there's a lot of setups to like things that are gonna like go in the future. Of course, like the timeline's being altered.
Yeah.
No more Thanos equals like other shit being altered and like Loki getting away. So there's very clear opportunities for them to set up stuff. But yeah, I mean, you know, as an ending to like this chapter of like the, you know, they call it the Infinity Saga. It really should be called the Iron Man Saga, because start off Iron Man. And, you know, even the end credits, there's no end credit scene, but there's an end credit noise with Iron Man building his original suit. So it's very much like this is what that, you know.
What's great to me, and this will kind of be my final, you know, closing thoughts, is the fact that the MCU has built the character of Iron Man to be their version of Superman. and it came full circle with like the epitome of like something like the death of Superman, where like it's the most epic, most crazy conclusion because this is the guy who saved the universe, who saved humanity.
Why'd the kid from Iron Man 3 show up, man?
I don't care. Yeah. That's not gonna downgrade the movie for me. But essentially, but essentially, like having that funeral scene be like this crazy epic thing of like a Superman. I really did feel like, man, MCU's this is like low key their Superman, and that's the coolest thing ever because he's the best superhero ever in my opinion. So the fact that they kind of made their own version of a Superman and kind of coming full circle from having like a corporate arms dealer, because that's what Tony Stark is or was. Yeah. Be like a savior, a Superman, you know, a sacrificial hero. Like that to me was like, yeah, that's deep. That's so freaking deep, and that's really cool. That's kind of my final thoughts on the movie, and obviously we get the ending of the movie, which I think is perfect with Captain America just kind of being like, you know what? Yeah. I love Peggy. I'm staying. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna have my own family. And I was like, that's cool. I mean, seeing old man Cap was, you know, I didn't think if it was gonna be cheesy or not, because at first I was like, yo, it's gonna be mad whack. But it kind of grew on me, and then passing on the shield was great.
Yeah. Very much setting up, I guess, for a Disney Plus series. Sure. Falcon and.
Do you have any? Give me a favorite scene. Give me a favorite character MVP in this movie.
MVP. I mean. MVP? That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I personally...
There's always an MVP. MVP of Infinity War is obviously Thor.
I don't want to go that far, but I did love Thor. I mean, you got to go with Cap, man. I mean, Cap was the only one who could like really get the mission. Well, maybe not. Cap didn't get it. Oh, you know what? Ant-Man, bro. Scott Lang. He came in there and actually like... I feel like...
his daughter girl up was pretty deep, too.
Yeah, that was deep. I actually really love the idea of them doing this whole time heist thing, and then you can even hear it in the music. Like the music is the mixture of the Avengers score and the Ant-Man, like the little jazzy kind of composition they had for that. Yep. So I really love that they kind of made this and Ant-Man kind of stand out. And I love that the Russo brothers care a lot enough about each character to kind of give them like their kind of spotlight moments, you know. So, but yeah, I that MVP's probably Ant-Man. Favorite scene. I just everything that happened in the Avengers storyline is probably my favorite scene. Yeah. Probably seeing the whole thing of Robert Redford coming back as Agent Pierce or as Simmons. Pierce. And Secretary Pierce. Yeah, they're shaking hands, and Iron Man has that little heart attack because Ant-Man pulls out the little thing, and I think that was great. It's a great piece of continuity too because of course he gets that removed like later on. So but yeah, overall I thought you know that was great for a movie. You know, for most Marvel movies, the CGI third act like really just kind of washes out for me, but for CGI third acts, this was probably one of the better ones. So, for sure, 100%. So I rock with that. You know.
Yeah. For me, MVP obviously. To me, it's Iron Man, 100%. But I still want to give a little shout out to my girl Nebula, just because I feel like she always gets shafted and shorthanded. Yeah. But I felt bad for her half this movie, and then the other half, I'm like, man, I really hope like Nebula gets like something, bro.
Yeah. I'd really love for them to never use Gamora ever again. Really? You know what I mean? I feel like every step of the way, they have kind of just not had a good storyline for Gamora.
I still like the scene where we get the classic Guardians of the Galaxy opening scene.
And
it's like he's like, come and get you.
And
War Machine just knocks him out.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah, that was really funny. But I just feel like Gamora, it's like every single storyline is predicated to her relationship with like either her dad or Period.
That's true.
The only stuff that's ever been dynamic in this series is like her relationship with Nebula, and they further explore that more in this movie.
I kind of like how that was like the backbone of her kind of turning sides too.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, and I think if they would have, I mean, Guardians 2 focused a lot more on that than Guardians 1 did. Sure. So for me, I really just didn't like the way Gamora was handled in Guardians 1 or in Infinity War. Sure. But now she's back, but now she's just back to the same Guardians 1 that we kind of have to go through this again, you know? Sure. So
we'll find out. But essentially, you know, we have Cap, old and gone, kind of, almost gone.
Yeah, he handed over. I love Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie.
That's what I was gonna say. You stole it from me. Yeah. I love that Thor was like, "You're the king now."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Yo, that's the coolest thing ever." Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, Valkyrie really deserved it.
100% deserved.
Honestly, like if you're to rank the overpowered people, I'd probably put Valkyrie number 2 under like Captain Marvel. Probably just like off of like the strength, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I love seeing that transition. I love seeing Falcon transition. No transition for Iron Man, but I'm sure it's gonna be like Shuri or something.
Yeah, I mean overall, that's kind of my thoughts on the movie. I still feel like I told my friend afterwards. I still feel like this is Cap and Iron Man's movie. Like at the end of the day, this is them two.
Yeah.
They're kind of the ones.
It ends with Cap.
It ends with Cap. It ends with Iron Man. They're the ones who are saving the day. They're the ones who have the best storyline and they have the best lines, best moments. They're the MVPs of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which in a way kind of shorthands the other characters a little bit, but I'm okay with it.
Well, just because Thor's joining the Guardians. It looks like your boy Thor's joining the Guardians.
I don't know if he is. That's what everyone keeps saying, but I don't.
As
think
Guardians of the Galaxy, I like that. They should call it their one as Guardians of the Galaxy.
I thought that was funny, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. It could be, but I still feel like he was just saying, "I'm done, I'm retired," kind of thing. But either way, those are my thoughts on Endgame. Those are your thoughts. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of the movie. What's your favorite scene, your favorite quote, your favorite line, your favorite character? Who do you think was the MVP of the movie?
Is it better than Infinity War?
Is it better than Infinity War?
Because I genuinely think
I'm sure most people will feel like it is. I feel like most people walked away thinking it was the best MCU movie. Even though I don't think it's the best MCU movie.
Yeah.
And I still feel like Infinity War is better. Most people did, and I totally understand that. And I really do love this movie, to be honest. Again, it's the finale thing. Like, this is a finale. It's different than any other movie. So it has to feel different. It did. So those are our thoughts on the movies, guys. Let us know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to First Cut. We have more reviews here. We also have our podcast, The Meaning Of.
Yeah.
We also have that up on our SoundCloud, also up on the Collider Factor iTunes feed. So go and check that out for First Cut. Peace.
This is RB3.
Peace out.
I'm
so tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
My eyes are closing in. Thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah,
What do you think?
Yeah,
it's too long.